We shop. You save. Full details on example policies at select.
Hi, I'm Kelly Kirk.
I'm Chad Larson.
And I'm Joe Kirk.
Your hosts for Searching for Service. Tune in to Rotary's influential show and podcast, sharing touching stories of service locally and abroad.
We bring you weekly guests that connect, inform, and inspire our listeners on all things service.
We highlight diverse service opportunities that appeal to both Rotarians and people driven to serve in their communities.
Tune in Sundays at 3 p.m. or anytime via podcast. It's time
to stop searching
and start serving.
Hey, Cudahy to all my friends and relatives in 4 directions. This is Robert Pilot of Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake. I'm here to ask you for your support. Finding honest Native-centered news is not easy, but with your support, we're able to provide accurate information about Standing Rock, Line 3, treaty violation communities. Please visit Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon and donate if you can. That's Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon, Pinigigi, and thank you for your support.
Hi, this is Ken Hageland, host of Living Healthy and Aging Well, inviting you to listen to our live call-in talk show airing every Saturday from noon to 1, where we talk about your health and your life and provide insights you need to know to live and age well. Each week, we talk with guests who provide answers to important questions regarding healthcare, elder care, end-of-life care, and self-care for caregivers, and help you and your loved ones plan for the future and enjoy your highest quality of life today. Please join us every Saturday from noon to 1 on AM 950 for Living Healthy and Aging Well.
Hey, it's Tom. Going solar is a great way to save on energy costs. By using the sun to power your house, you can feel good about an investment that will last for years. All Energy Solar is a locally trusted turnkey solar installer that's been around since 2009. They provide custom designs and quality installations of solar panel systems that work for your energy needs. One of the best parts about going solar is it's an investment that can pay for itself. Your system can pay back 100% of the installation cost in as little as 8 years. Plus, a system from All Energy Solar can pay back over 300% of its cost over its lifetime. There's also many tax incentives and rebates available, and the experts at All Energy Solar can walk you through the entire process to make sure you're saving as much as possible. So go green, both financially and environmentally, with All Energy Solar. Get a free, no-obligation assessment from All Energy Solar by calling 800-620-3370 or visiting allenergysolar.com.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for scattered thunderstorms tonight with a low around 62, Thursday partly cloudy with a high near 81, and Friday sunny with a high around 82. Crooner's Supper Club is a little piece of old school nightlife in the 21st century. And before or after your show, check out the new Maggie's Lounge, a perfect place to visit with friends. It's open Wednesdays through Sundays beginning at 4:30 for cocktails and light fare. And you don't even need a ticket to enjoy the great atmosphere of Maggie's. More at CroonersLoungeMN.com.
Portions of Native Roots Radio may be pre-recorded.
It's a good day to be indigenous.
Get up, stand up.
They are going to become more brutal.
Couldn't cut, hit me cut again.
Because all the hippies were trying to be Indians anyway.
They're going to become more repressive because it's a matter of dollars and their illusionary concepts of power.
Hey, Victor.
We must live in balance with the earth.
And also with recent happenings at Wounded Knee.
I am awake. Welcome to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanja Hade. Hey, Cudahy to all my friends and relatives in 4 directions. You are listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Robert Pilot. And we discuss local and national Native news and events. And as you know, Haley, Native issues are human issues, and human issues are Native issues.
You're right, Dega. This episode of Native Roots Radio is presented in partnership with Little Moments Count. Little Moments Count is a statewide collaborative focused on helping parents and caregivers learn about the importance of brain development in the first 3 years of life.
Yeah, nearly 80% of brain growth happens in the first 1,000 days. And small moments of interaction like talking, playing, reading, and singing help create the pathways that build a child's brain during this early stage of life. For more information, you can visit at littlemomentscount.org. And we're really excited. Last time we had Little Moments Count on, it was a rock and roll show, and I'm looking forward to this too. And I see Melanie Anderson there. And Melanie, welcome to Native Roots Radio.
Good evening. How are you?
Good. And there's Kris, and I just want to touch on your bio here, Melanie, and a little bit. And you are developing a program called Now and Zen through the Indigenous Parent Leadership Initiative, a community project. Now and Zen is a logo, mindfulness, and meditation program for White Earth youth ages 12 to 17. And that's exciting. And I know there's someone down here in the cities who does that all over the nation. Lotus Yoga, and she is just she said that it saved her life learning yoga, and so that's really cool that you're reaching out to the young ones or the middle young ones about this great activity that can really help you spiritually and all those good ways. And I want to say, hey, Kris, welcome. And Kris, you're a facilitator. You're originally from Pine Point and are an enrolled citizen of White Earth Nation, and have worked for 15 years with the White Earth RBC in various positions in education, ICW, and mental health. Your passion throughout your career has been to reach out to parents in education's parents play the most important role of our young ones. And we've talked about that many times here on Native Roots Radio about how important it is for our parents to support their young ones and in many ways. And so great to have you on. And I want to throw this question out here is, what is the Indigenous Parent Leadership Initiative? Who would like to answer that for me? Oh,
I can answer that. Thank you for having me again. The Indigenous Parent Leadership Initiative, it's a nationally accredited and evidence-based parenting leadership curriculum that's culturally infused and customized to empower our tribal communities. And I think that's the neatest part about it. It came about through the Community Solutions Grant and the Minnesota Department of Health. They partnered with Indigenous Visioning and the National Parent Leadership Institute, White Earth Nation, Dr. Antony and support from the Northwest Minnesota Foundation to bring the Indigenous Parent Leadership Initiative to Native country. It's a free 20-week program. It integrates child development, leadership, democracy skills, and our Ojibwe culture into a parent curriculum to empower our parents' voice. So the first 10 weeks of it will focus on self-perception with a focus on the differences, the parent's voice, their values, their family and community strengths. And then the last 10 weeks is a study on how these changes occur within our educational, tribal, state, federal, and our local governments.
Is that the self analysis that you were talking about? Is that the final outcome of how we think about ourselves, or how does that work, Kris?
I'm not sure what you mean by self-analysis.
Well, I think you said what did you call it? The self perception.
Their self-perception, exactly.
Yeah.
It's more on how they see themselves as a parent and how important their role as a parent in the community. Because a lot of times we hear, well, I'm just a parent. It's like empowering them to realize that you are the parent, you have that power and that strength, and you need that confidence to find your voice to make these changes in the community for your family, and most importantly for our children.
Yeah, that's big time. Hey, I want to ask Melanie a little bit here. Melanie, what is the community project, and how is it helping the youth in the White Earth community, and what do you hope to accomplish there? And welcome again to Native Roots Radio.
Yeah, so I interviewed for the Indigenous Parenting Leadership Initiative back in, November, December of 21. So it was just coming out of COVID. I worked for White Earth Mental Health through White Earth, and I saw a huge need in our kids that just needed to get moving and get out of the house. And then coming back to school, they were so scattered and not able to focus, not able to concentrate. And I wanted to, and part of my job at the Bagley High School where I work is to teach kids skills. And so it was like perfect. And I did some research. I wanted a Native American program, yoga program to go through. There wasn't any available at the time. And I found this Breathe for Change program, which is for educators and community members. And their values just like hit home for me. It was breathe for beginnings, breathe for compassion, breathe for gratitude, breathe for communication, breathe for social justice, breathe for playfulness, just all of these different things. And it was a great fit, a great match. And I'm so glad that I completed the program. So I am a 200-hour yoga teacher. And within the Breathe for Change program, they also had social emotional learning. And so I am able to facilitate those types of groups too for kids in the community.
Yeah, I mean that the stretching and the things that it's just good medicine. I'm 62 now and I need to stretch all the time. But I mean, the young ones that get involved with that, you can do a lot of things. You can run faster. You get that those poisonous things out of your muscles, and you can think better. And it's a really I think it's a great idea and pretty brilliant, Melanie.
Yeah, and also, what is it? Indigenous Lotus. She's actually one of my role models.
Yeah, she's out there doing it, and not to get deep in her story, but she was a troubled teen, and she talks about how it saved her life. So I buy in, and she's still doing it. It isn't a flash in the pan. So yeah, definitely got to give her a shout out. Well, let's we're here talking to Melanie Anderson and Kris Manning, and we're talking a little about yoga, a little about our young ones, and we're talking in partnership with Little Moments Count of what's going on here in Minnesota, and specifically here with White Earth, and we're excited. So we'll be right back after this short message. You're listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake.
Stay with us.
Hey, Ogama, I've been hearing a lot about this term, climate justice. What is that?
Climate justice is recognizing that the negative impacts of climate change don't affect all people equally. It also means transitioning from a fossil fuel-based economy to a more sustainable future. MN350 is one of the groups that's pushing for this transition to protect our futures. You can even get involved too.
That's great, especially since I'm concerned about pipeline projects like Line 3. How can I help MN350?
Just find them on Facebook or visit mn350.org.
Life is a journey, and the Doherty Family College at the University of St. Thomas will help you get where you want to go. Located in downtown Minneapolis, this affordable 2-year college provides free textbooks, a laptop, meals, career coaches, and a Metro Transit pass, making DFC the perfect pathway to a bachelor's degree. Turn your dreams into reality at Doherty Family College at the University of St. Thomas. Apply today at dfc.stthomas.edu.
J&S Bean Factory is a native-owned, community-supported, cozy, artsy coffee shop which offers roasted on-site beans, live music, and baked goods. Relax in the beautiful outside patio. City Pages writes, voted top 10 coffee shops. Tucked into a quiet corner of St. Paul's Highland Park neighborhood, this coffee shop roasts beans on-site from the best coffee-growing countries in the world. Located at 1518 Randolph Avenue, St. Paul. The good stuff.
Unwanted sexting or photos, inappropriate jokes, even tickling or wrestling can feel like a violation. Catcalling, cornering, or groping, getting them drunk or high for sex, recording sexual acts without permission, hurting someone because of their sexual orientation, raping a family member, a child, a date, a friend, a stranger. Purchasing a human being for sex. You make the choice every single time. Sexual violence is many things. Make a choice. Do not do it.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Hi, this is Representative Sharice Davids from Kansas. I'm Ho Chunk, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio.
And we're back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake with Robert Pilot.
Hey, this portion of the show is supported by Little Moments Count.
That's right. Little Moments Count is a statewide collaborative focused on helping parents and caregivers learn about the importance of brain development in the first 3 years of life. And we're talking to Melanie Anderson and Kris Manning, and we are getting down to the brass tacks of this, Kris. Let's talk a little bit about what is the Indigenous Foundation curriculum, and let's bring that back up to our listeners that might not know.
The Indigenous Foundation's curriculum is offered through a cultural lens, and it acknowledges our Anishinaabe identity, the effects of our historical trauma due to the boarding school area. And each week there's a different teaching that's offered along with the NPLI curriculum. It's a journey of healing, of transformation. We talk about the Ojibwe values, the teachings, the language, the healthy traditional lifestyle for the participants. And it is compromised by the seasons, by the Ojibwe calendar. So what we taught during the fall and what we taught during the spring kind of correlates between those teachings. It is what I really liked about the Indigenous curriculum that was developed by Antony Troyer is that we were able to customize that to what our participants needed, what they wanted. And we were able to take one section and make it our own. So instead of having maybe 15, 20 minutes just devoted to historical trauma, we made that into our own session. So that was a full 2-hour session. We talked about epigenetics. We talked about historical trauma, the boarding schools. We talked about hope, the changes that we can make, the importance of having those healthy relationships, the healthy environments. We also did a healing ceremony along with that. So at the end of that session, because it was really a very powerful and emotional session, we had the participants write letters to either their grandparents that were affected by boarding school, their parents, or even to the children that were not able to come home, and kind of what changes that they as parents are going to make to keep their traditions alive, to keep our culture alive, not only for those that weren't able to make it home, but for them and their future generations. So it was a very powerful and moving session.
Wow, that is powerful. Just to hear it sounds so powerful. Melanie, what do you hope to accomplish through this whole process of yoga and reaching out to the young ones and working on their development in a good way?
Well, I see that our kids have experienced a lot of trauma. And so I hope to get kids better able to process some of that stuff through releasing that trauma in our body, because it is stored there. And I would like to move forward and do some trauma-informed yoga stuff with the kids. So I am looking at that and completing my 300-hour yoga teacher training.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right about that. So many studies have shown that is a big thing, that we store our trauma and our hurt in our bodies. And I mean, years ago, I had healing work done on me, and the person said, I think it was a Reiki person, was saying that she felt, there was a pain in my heart, and those are real things that that we need to take care of as young and or at any age, but hopefully as a young age, so we don't carry that with us forever.
Right.
Yeah. So, how is your project, Melanie? How is your project funded?
So going through IPLI, we were given a grant, and so I used that. I also did a GoFundMe page and was able to come up with some funding there, and then I paid the difference because it was kind of a more expensive program to go through, but it was worth it to me and for the kids that I serve.
Yeah, definitely. And being a role model is so important, especially when you're working with young ones. I know because if they're not saying much, they're watching and they're
Mhm.
watching your actions and who you are and going there with a good heart and doing things that it sounds like that you're doing. I'm sure the young ones will really catch on to that you're there with in a good way.
For sure.
Yeah. So, Kris, what are your thoughts about, how do we sustain this? How do we keep this going? Because I'm sure there's a few bumps in the road in the beginning, and sometimes you have to take 2 steps back to take 3 forward. How do you keep moving in a good way?
That's something that Beth and Barb are continually looking for, is for grants to help fund the project, because it is quite spendy for a cohort to go through. They know that the Community Solutions grant was refunded, so they will be applying for that in the fall. And again, they're just continually looking for funders, looking for partnerships to keep this going. And
So we have people that go through this, and I guess they would be called alumni, right? And so, how do you work with the alumni and then people have gone through or going through this program and process?
we do have an alumni program. So our first cohort, we did graduate 11 parents. The second
Wow.
cohort, we graduated 10. So they'll all be together for the alumni. And we'll have meetings on if they want more networking information, if they want more like for budgets and for fundraisers, what we can do to look for connecting our past or prior participants to funders that are available now. And what's really neat is that out of our first cohort, we did have 2 participants that are now our facilitators. So for the second cohort, they were facilitators in training, and they'll be going to the national training here next week to become officially facilitators.
I think we had one on the show. If I remember correctly, one of the young ladies, a parent, became a facilitator and went through the program. I think from my perspective that it's very important to have alumni involved because they've gone through the program, and it's not as scary when you see somebody that's gone through the program and in a good way to see that they're still they're still doing it, and there's still positive things happening in their life as an alumni. So that's really a great idea to have the alumni involved. Well, I agree with myself there, Kris. But we only got a couple more minutes here. Why don't we, Melanie? Why don't you say a few words about how you feel and how you came about this program? And you say our friend down here in the cities, the Lotus lady, she is all over and doing good work and started up, and she's kind of a person that you look up to. How did you get involved?
Well, like I said, when I joined IPLI, one of the components of the program was to do a community project, and we were supposed to, what is your passion? Like, what what is your passion? We had to think about. And so I narrowed it down. I love working with youth. I work in a school. I've dedicated my entire career to working with kids and families. And I came across this program. It was yoga and mindfulness and meditation and social emotional learning. And it was right for me at the right time. And I enjoy everything that I do with it. And I continue to work with kids. And I am glad to be a part of the alumni.
Yeah, that is awesome. So, I just want to let everyone know, for more information, you can visit at littlemomentscount.org. And what a great program. I'm going to ask Kris if you want to finish off this segment in some good way and a good words that I'm always amazed in a good way on all the great work that you guys are doing. And I really believe that 11 and 10 are really great numbers to start with and to build from, because it'll just mushroom out. But give us a 1 minute here of how you feel and about this program.
This program to me is so special because we're able to see parents come from all sides of our reservation, come together, realize that they are important. What they have to say is important, to find their voice, to have that confidence, and seeing their personal growth, again, from when they first come in saying, what did I sign up for, to developing these relationships, to having more activity within their own community. And just watching that, it amazes me. It's like watching your child's first steps, and you're so excited. And after each session, we would be really excited with what the participants have learned. Not only the participants were learning, but us as facilitators were learning as well. We would talk about what we just witnessed, kind of review what we needed to change. And it's an emotional, rewarding experience. And I really feel that this needs to be in every Native community.
Wow. Hey, I want to thank you too, Melanie Anderson and Kris Manning, for stopping in. You're listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake and A Little Moments Count. We'll be right back after this short break.
Attention art enthusiasts, experience Laura Youngbird's Indie Wisigindum, My Heart Hurts, a solo exhibition by Laura Youngbird presented by All My Relations Arts this summer. All My Relations Arts aims to foster connections between contemporary American Indian artists, preceding generations, diverse audiences, and the vitality of the American Indian cultural corridor. Laura Youngbird is a talented artist from the Minnesota Chippewa Grand Portage Band that uses the dress as a metaphor to address social issues, injustices, and biases. Through mixed media combining drawing, painting, and prints, Laura explores the dress as a powerful symbol in her work, revealing layers of meaning. Her series examines mixed emotions and themes like common threads, loose ends, and vulnerability. And you can see Laura Youngbird's Inde Wisigindum, My Heart Hurts, all summer through September 9th at All My Relations Arts in Minneapolis. Plan your visit and let the moving art speak to your heart. More information at allmyrelationsarts.org.
It's 2023, and you might think COVID is behind us. Unfortunately, it is still with us, and there are important steps you need to take if you or a loved one is at risk of contracting COVID-19. First, every home in Minnesota is eligible to order 8 rapid at-home COVID-19 tests for free once a month at sayyeshometest.org. Even if you have ordered tests before, you can order again. You can do the nasal swab test anywhere and get results in about 15 minutes. If there's a positive test, treat symptoms with rest, fluids, and pain relievers. However, if you're over 65 or have chronic medical conditions, contact your healthcare provider immediately. Follow your provider's advice on care and home isolation. Watch for worsening symptoms or emergency warning signs. Your provider might suggest using a home pulse oximeter to monitor oxygen levels. If symptoms worsen or emergency signs appear, seek medical attention immediately. Find more tips on continuing to be safe at health.state.mn.us.
This message is brought to you in partnership with the Minnesota Department of Health.
Your neighbors are talking about the Blue Line extension, connecting North Minneapolis, Crystal, Robbinsdale, and Brooklyn Park to the light rail transit system.
The Blue Line allows us to actually connect people in real time to this community. Instead of bypassing it, they're going to stop and shop. They're going to stop and play. They're going to stop and work. Blue Line is a connector.
Hear more of this story and others at yourblueline.org.
Hey, this is Robert Pilot. I taught in St. Paul Public Schools for over 25 years, and I want you to join the team and make a difference in our children's future. Right now, St. Paul Public Schools is offering hiring and retention bonuses up to $10,000 for a variety of teaching and classroom support positions for the next school year. Grow in a supportive and fulfilling public school setting. Limited bonuses are available, so don't delay. Apply at spps.org/careers.
Hi, Matt McNeil for Rudy Luther Toyota. You've heard me talk about the Rudy Luther Toyota We Buy program. Now hear from someone who's actually done it, me. Our kids' car, the 2006 Toyota Sienna, served us well for 17 years, but it was finally time to say goodbye. The We Buy program is really simple. I gave them some basic information, we set up an appointment, and after a quick verification, they gave me an estimate and a check, and they made me a generous offer. It was that fast. See for yourself. Try the Rudy Luther Toyota We Buy program at rudyluthertoyota.com.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for scattered thunderstorms tonight with a low around 62. Thursday, partly cloudy with a high near 81. And Friday, sunny with a high around 82. Discover the magic of Crooner's Supper Club. From the incredible shows to the cozy ambiance of Maggie's Lounge, there's no better place to spend an evening with friends, family, or that special someone. Crooner's Supper Club is located off Moore Lake and Highway 65. More at croonersloungemn.com.
You're listening to Native Roots Radio. This is Spirit from Reservation Dogs. Get up and listen.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is supported by the Native American Community Clinic on Franklin Avenue in Minneapolis, honoring health and tradition.
What a coincidence. We have the CEO and president of the Native American Community Clinic here in Minneapolis on Franklin Avenue, and rounding up by getting a new building here, and really some exciting things happening. Thank you, Dr. Stately, for stopping in. This is not your day, but I was on vacation and had guest hosts, and I just want to give a quick shout out to State Representative Heather Keeler and Arviana for stepping in there and doing a great show. And we have Dr. Stately today, and it's always good to see you, Mr. Stately, Dr. Stately.
Thank you. You as well. Were you on vacation, or were you celebrating your anniversary, or both?
We were celebrating it was both. We were celebrating our anniversry, and we were
nice. Happy anniversary.
5 days of no telephone, basically, and not doing my other job or doing the radio show. So that was, I'm usually have my phone attached to me, so it was good just to get away.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So how many years have you been married?
Hey, wait a minute. I'll be doing the interviewing here. 22 years.
Oh yeah, 22 years. Wow.
Right.
That woman deserves some type of award, because I don't know how anybody could.
Well, I always tell Wendy, I said, I know you're a pharmacist, still have your license, and you're very smart. And I know you're smart because you married me. Oh, wow.
Oh, or perhaps she.
Yeah. Exactly.
I'm just teasing. No,
you can put some tobacco out for her every day.
I will. I pray hard for her, actually. Giving her some extra, June for getting through. So congratulations. That's wonderful. You guys are a lovely couple, actually. Yeah. Very happy.
Yeah. Hey, so you've been running around really busy, and I have this cat attacking me right now, so I have to
I love your cat with the whiskey voice. That's so cool.
Right.
I'm gonna move this out of my way. It's my little thing here. Looks like I have For whatever reason, it looks like I have a thing on top of my head, like a wapesha, like, you know.
Oh, he didn't try and do that?
No, I didn't do that on
I thought,
purpose.
how artsy is this guy? Look at it. He's got
No,
something.
that is actually like, this is really cool. This was a gift we got earlier, but maybe a couple months ago, about a month ago. Ben Blue made this for us, a staff, an Eagle staff, so that when we do, when we do like things like marches and participate in those kinds of things, and anytime we rolled it out the same day that we had our, not rolled it out, but like the first time it made a public appearance was at our 20th anniversary celebration in May. So,
well,
yeah.
Those are powerful too. I've been asked over the years to make a family staff. So when we are at powwows and things like that, that we can come out there and. But yeah, it's a powerful representation. And again, congratulations for 20 years. That's huge.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a big deal.
And I know some of your plans, and I think the next 20 years are going to look pretty bright too, and help out the community. And
yeah,
what more
I was just sorry I was late. I was talking to a reporter.
Not from NPR, right?
No, we don't even say their initials, remember?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. But I should tell you, in all honesty, I'm starting to do some things for that other station that we don't name by name. So, yeah, it's like that's more of that same work I've been doing for the last couple of years, but all focused around conversations related to health and well-being and COVID and impact of COVID. But actually, who I was talking to right before I got on, which is why I was late, I was talking with some reporters from Minnesota Business Journal. They're going to do a piece on us, or Minneapolis Business Journal is going to do a piece on our project, our expansion, the clinic expansion and housing project. They were actually so Monday I had a meeting at the city council or the city planning commission meeting, and our pre-application passed, thank God. We had some challenges that we had to respond to from folks in the neighborhood and in the community, and I think they have some legitimate concerns. Some of them are, in my opinion, not are not. It's not that they're not legitimate concerns. I think when I weigh them in the scale of sort of like some of the bigger issues that are true for my community, I think I have some legit pushback. I think like a couple of them are like not happy with the size of the building. The building is going to be 7 or 6 stories tall, and it will be one of the tallest buildings on Franklin Avenue in this area along the cultural corridor at that point. But the other piece to that is like 4 floors of housing for our unsheltered relatives in the community, which we have some critical need around. Like one person was like, "Well, you're blocking my view," and I was like, "Oh, good Lord." Should we keep people unhoused and not respond to a crisis in our community so that you can have a view, honestly? So anyway, some of that stuff is not legit, but we're going to address other concerns that they have around like traffic flow and density and a few other things. So, and safety primarily. So not a whole lot we can do about density. So.
Yeah, maybe you can remind our audience too. I think we talk a lot around it, what you're doing. Maybe you can just give a quick synopsis of what you are, and I believe Red Lake are partnering in.
Yeah, so actually our clinic expansion is just direct result of a lot of the work we've done over the last 3 or 4 years since the Wall of Forgotten Natives. People will remember that is one of the largest encampments that Minnesota has ever seen up until that moment in time in its modern history, so to speak. And it was the quote unquote the largest houseless encampment that they had ever seen. Most of the people in that encampment were Native. And in that 4 or 5 years since the Wall of Forgotten Natives, we have seen houselessness become a much more bigger crisis. Even since then, Native people represent about 1/3 of the houseless population in the state. So anywhere between 27 to 30%, depending on whose numbers you use. And even though we're only 1 or 2% of the population, so that's a pretty big disparity right there. And then, but also in our clinic, we provide, in partnership with Red Lake, we have 2 tribal health programs that we operate in partnership with them, and that is the intensive outpatient treatment program that we have, and then also we have a in-clinic medication assisted treatment administration or dosing clinic where we provide Suboxone to people who are wanting to get treatment for opiate use disorder. And those 2 operations have significantly impacted the utilization of the space in the smaller building. So a couple of years ago when we purchased the building with a nice grant from the state, we made an intentional decision to pivot and build a new building because we had expanded so significantly and rapidly over the last 3 years that the building we purchased, which is the building we've been in for the last 20 years, is too small for everything we operate to come back in under one roof. And that includes our traditional healing and cultural healing services that we do. We now have 5 cultural healers that work within our clinic, work outside of the clinic and do other things, community-facing stuff. And then we have 1 spiritual care provider that goes to the Vivo Villages, which is a tiny homes village in Northeast that is run by Vivo, and we provide spiritual care services and other medical services there. And so we've expanded so rapidly and so significantly that we need to build a modern space. This building's about ready to fall down. It's kind of like a Frankenstein together operation. It's part of a strip mall, and it just, I always tell people, like, you could go down any door, any hallway, and you could end up in an exam room, a closet, or outside. Like, kind of like, because it's like a house of mirrors in here sometimes. So.
Yeah, I know. I've gone through that door and where's Dr. Stately? And they said, well, he's down there. And it's like, how do I get there?
Right. And they're like, you got to go out the building and go around. It's like, it was like when I first got here in 2016, just before I got here, I started in December 2016, and it was the winter time, right? So like right before that, we had just remodeled the front side of the building on the western side, like closest to the wolf sculpture, and then also closest to Woodland Bank. And people used to have to exit the dental operation and go outside the door and in the middle of the winter and walk down to the other door and come into the clinic to go if they wanted to go for a medical appointment. And I was like, this is crazy. So the goal here is with this new building is we're going to build from the ground up a modern, intentional building that's built specifically to our needs as a clinic, one that supports and incentivizes integration, a fully integrated clinic with spiritual care services centered right at the center of what we do. Really excited that figuratively and literally we'll have a separate space for cultural healing. And we're building 4 floors of housing above the clinic to support our houseless relatives so that they can have access to the services they need and they have stability and they can kind of get their lives back on track.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's I'm so excited for you. And too, that's thinking outside the box and thinking in a good way. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. And like I always want to bring around, because Wendy always says, ask Dr. Stately what he wants to talk about. And so we'll do that the next segment. And you are listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and here we're with Dr. Stately, CEO and President and Executive Officer of Native American Community Clinic. We'll be right back.
Hey, Olgama, I've been hearing a lot about this term, climate justice. What is that?
Climate justice is recognizing that the negative impacts of climate change don't affect all people equally. It also means transitioning from a fossil fuel-based economy to a more sustainable future. MN350 is one of the groups that's pushing for this transition to protect our futures. You can even get involved too.
That's great, especially since I'm concerned about pipeline projects like Line 3. How can I help MN350?
Just find them on Facebook or visit mn350.org.
Even though the public COVID-19 emergency might be over, it's still important to stay up to date on vaccinations. And if you're like most people, you probably need a refresher on who should get vaccinated and when. So here's the bottom line. If you're 6 years or older, aim for that one updated COVID-19 vaccine. It doesn't matter if you've had a previous vaccine or not. You're still in the game. Now, if you're 65 or older, you've got the green light for one extra dose of the COVID-19 vaccine. Just wait 4 months after your first updated dose, and you're good to go. And for the little ones, children between 6 months and 5 years may need multiple doses, including at least one of the updated vaccines, based on their age and previous doses. Remember, always stay informed and reach out to healthcare professionals for personalized guidance. Didn't catch all of that? You can find all of the updated COVID vaccine information at health.state.mn.us. That's health.state.mn.us.
This message is brought to you in partnership with the Minnesota Department of Health.
Minnesota has the only original wolf population in the continental United States.
And 80% of Minnesotans believe the wolf should be protected.
Howling for Wolves is asking Minnesotans to respect our true wildlife manager, the wolf.
Their survival is critical to our ecosystems, our communities, and even our economy.
As highly intelligent animals with strong social bonds, Minnesota wolves deserve to be protected and admired.
Learn more at howlingforwolves.org. Let's live and let howl. Howl!
Hi, I'm Jane Fonda, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio.
And we're back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show.
Oh, something happened. Haley, you're muted. What's going on there? You don't have a cat like I do over here, Haley. It looks like, okay, you're unmuted now. Go ahead, Haley.
There we go. I am working off of my 2010 Apple desktop computer right now, so the lag is 100% real. But yeah, sorry about that. This portion of the show is supported by Howling for Wolves, protecting wolves for future generations.
Oh, I'm going to talk about a leg, right? Talk about a leg.
I was going to say that NPR guy didn't want to howl. Jeez, what the
heck? It's not in my contract. But actually, like that was like an elder leg. That was like, oh, you know, because like you're like your Apple. I'm also very old and not very functional.
Yeah.
So.
Here. You know, I'm right behind you. Or wait, I'm ahead of you. Oh, wow.
I sent you some pictures of the renderings that we just finished up this week. So, you'll notice, like, I don't know if you can actually show these on screen now that I think about it. You'll notice that so true story. So like, the architects did these renderings for our project, and we're like, and I was like, we're like, all the people in these renderings are white and very light skinned. And what they said was, they were like, well, I go, can we like get some people of color in this, in these drawings? And like, because we're serving Native people. And they're like, well, apparently like you can't change the color of the person's skins. I said, hold up. Is this a real thing? I said, like, you can change the color of the building. You can change, like, you can do all this stuff in the actual, like, the rendering, the software that they use for the building architectural thing. And I said, like, but you can't actually change the skin tone of the people. Like, that's really crazy. So I was like, this is not going to do, because we were actually putting renderings together for the open house. I said, like, I can't put these out here during our open house. So the lead architects went back and they like found pictures that they were able to sort of like clip and put in, because they couldn't change the skin tone on the people that they had populated with. But I was then we pull them up and we pull them out of the box, and we're like, there's like some of the actors from Res Dogs in here. populated throughout the thing.
You won't get sued.
I was like, I don't know if we can actually publish these. So anyway,
I
it's
see
funny.
somebody, an elder that looks in the back by a tree with a microphone. That's pretty interesting too. Or
Yeah, I think that might be you actually. Yeah.
I was gonna say you're doing my doing
It's
the
like Robert
show.
Pilot in there.
behind
Yeah,
the
yeah,
tree.
exactly.
So,
Yeah.
We're all moving above NAC come this semester. We're just all roommates living up there with the
Well, I was
rescue
just gonna
dog.
say, I was just gonna say too, Haley. It's like, well, this is probably a rendering of a few years from now because I'll be plugging in that microphone in a tree and thinking I'm having a radio show. I'll be at that point. where
Yeah. Well, actually, we're gonna put like so in our parking lot we're gonna put like electric EVs charging stations back there. We'll put a outlet in a tree so that you can broadcast your show from our parking lot.
there you go. In the winter.
Exactly.
Oh,
And we can all live on the top floor, like the penthouse. I don't know how much penthouse you're going to get in affordable housing, but the point is,
right.
But
I'll
we
bring
could
my
also
sleep
show up
bag.
in Maria's. Yeah, we could be like Friends, the Native Friends episodes. Gather in
Yeah.
Maria's and have coffee, and I don't know what they did in
Yeah.
Friends. Yeah.
Well, how far is it from your old place? It's a few blocks down, or
No, we're building this building right in our parking lot, right in front of our building. So it will be the building process is going to be challenging for sure because we're gonna close off the parking lot and dig a big huge hole and then put a 6-story building on top, and that will be a what do you call it, like a design and architectural feat to do that as well as a building feat but it's accomplishable. It's going to be, the clinic is going to have to adjust, the staff are going to have to adjust, the patients will have to adjust, and so will our neighbors around us will all have to adjust during the 12 to 18 months that we're actually building. But I think, the building, the rendering you see is like a really beautiful interpretation of some of the things we want to accomplish. And, anything that is wonderful and beautiful and worthwhile is worth a little bit of discomfort and a little bit of suffering for, right? This is why we go to ceremony. Like all of our ceremonies involve like giving something up, giving up comfort, giving up, and enduring some pain, some suffering, so that the people can live, and also so that like we can emerge on the other side with abundance and beauty and stronger people. So
yeah, absolutely. And with my bad knees, I'm sure I'll get some sort of free pass to the pool where I can do some laps.
yeah, well, we'll send you down the road to the community pool because we're not actually putting a pool in here.
I was hoping a kiddie pool on the roof or something.
We could put like a little puddle of water in front of the clinic that you can kind of like dip your toes into, but only if you've clipped them, because
You've heard about
we are serious about taking care of your hooves here at NAC. It's a real thing.
my excuse me, my sacred hooves, please.
Yeah, your sacred hooves, exactly. Right. Yeah. I don't. Sacred is like in quotes. Sacred hooves.
Hey, so what is the date that we're looking for the finished product?
We're hoping to break ground in 1 year from right about now. That means we're going to be looking to sort of close some of the financing. Our low income housing tax credit applications go in this month and next month, and we will hopefully get funded the first round. New market tax credits also go in at the same time, and all that sort of funding will sort of kind of align hopefully by the end of December. I do have I have a small gap in funding to fill with philanthropic and other sort of support. Small meaning like about 1.9 million, but we're going to get it accomplished. We're already out there pounding the pavement and talking with people. Lots of people have lots of interest, and The goal is to break ground in the first quarter of 2024 and complete the build by the end of 2024, first or second quarter of 2025, and we'll open up, towards the end of 25 or early 26. So,
wow, that's exciting, and that's a legacy that you're going to be leaving, because you're going to be close to retirement when that's finished.
Probably not, but yeah. I mean, I don't know a whole lot of Indians that retire. I know a whole lot of Indians who work up until the day they die. That's what I've known.
Yeah.
I have my mom did that, my aunt did that, my father did that, which is not exactly what I want to do, but I don't think I'm ready to retire. I think I have probably a good 6 or 7 years left, and then I'll do it.
Yeah, well, you're in good shape, and your mind is sharp, and we always have a really good little comedy show going here. I think we should put on the road here, open up for the native comedian.
Yeah, someone. Yeah.
Hey, PDE, Dr. Stately, and Native American Community Clinic, and great words and great opportunities, and thank you for stopping in as always. Hey, if you're listening to this show, you're part of the resistance from Chief Plentycoops. The ground on which we stand on is sacred ground. We need to resist, divest, join a group, run for office, and vote. We're still here. We are the 7th generation.
Free Leonard Peltier. Now.
Hi, this is